bro. Islam Makhachev just saved us. He saved us from the reign of Ian Garry. He saved the UFC from the Ian Garry era. We do not have to listen to Ian Garry's bullshit anymore. For the time being. Or at least for now. Islam gave us a fucking stay from all that. So shout out to Islam. We're going to get into that fight. Mackenzie Dern won her fight. She defended her title. We're going to get into all that, how she will do against Wei Lee. And my teammate, Tatiana Suarez, is in the mix, how she would do against Tatiana. We got a lot of exciting fights that could potentially happen. We're going to get into all that. What's next for Islam? What's next for Mackenzie Dern? Who should they fight? We're going to get into all that, plus some other upcoming UFC news. Let me pop over here and hit the chat real quick. I see people popping on the chat. Let me mute this thing right here. Okay, cool. John Dong in the chat says, what's up? He says, I love how the 1,200 favorite lost right off the bat. Yeah, man, we had some upsets. We had some people's parlays getting messed up. Man, I appreciate you, John, man. You hopping on the chat. We're going to give it 2 seconds, and we're going to get started right now. Yeah, man, so anybody, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. I absolutely appreciate everybody who's already subscribed. And, what? We got a real one in the building. Arpon the Don just popped on. Let's go. The real ones are alive. Yeah, man. Be a real one, man. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Make sure you got notifications on. Also, send your coach to Studio Millions. Studio Millions will pack their gym. They'll love you for it. All you got to do is send them to Studio Millions. They can get started for free. They go get some students for free. Free money. Right? That's what we do around here. Also, make sure you check out Fight Circus on Instagram at Fight Circus. They got a big show coming up in Vegas. And also the spot in Las Vegas, man. They're giving 35% off for new people. They got deals, right, where you can get like X amount for Y price. And then on top of the manager special deal, you can add another 5% off. So if you give them $100, they give you $100 worth of whatever you want, and you get $35 back. You keep that in your pocket and you blaze the rest. That's how they do it at the spot. You face the Palms place, you turn around, it's right behind you. It's right over there. It's at the spot. So if you're in Vegas, peep them. My name is King David MMA. I'll be your host for the evening. I'm a professional MMA champion, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach at Extreme Couture alongside the top fighters on the planet. Let me check the chat and we will get right into it. Just got off work and found the notification. Good way to get out of the matrix. Yeah, bro. You know what I mean? We might get weird tonight. Might get way outside the matrix because your boy Ian Garry was trying to matrix everybody out, man, and Islam saved us all from that bullshit. Let me hit this caffeine. Let me do a caffeine count real quick. So I have, what, 3? Zevia's right off the bat. So that's 360. I've had 3 of these. That's another, what, 102. So, dude, I'm slacking. I'm at like 462 milligrams today. So it might be a chill show. We'll only have 462 milligrams. Unless I drank another Zevia. I might be at 582. Between 450 and 600. We're somewhere in that range, right? Low caffeine day today. Hamza says, I think Morales will KO Islam. Man, so you think he's going to stuff the takedown? Dude, all right, guys, so let's get into this. Islam saved us all. Okay, so shout out to Islam Makhachev. Shout out to that guy. Because I didn't want to hear another however long of Ian Garry's worst takes ever being serious about it. Like, he sounds like he's trolling, so much so that Brendan Schaub believes that he doesn't believe what he believes Ian doesn't believe what he's saying. And I'm like, bro, Ian believes it. Like, dude, he was like kissing Islam on the forehead in between rounds of shit. Like, bro, what are you doing, dog? We don't tune in to see that, man. We don't tune in to see you holding another man's head between your hands as you go forehead to forehead with him in between rounds, bro. Bro, what are we doing, man? And then he gets on the mic and then starts just rambling off in a bunch of nonsense and then tells the crowd he doesn't care about the crowd. It's like, bro, what? Ian Garry should have said, if he had any testosterone left in his vegan body, because he's starving himself of nutrients, essential nutrients like creatine and things like that. What he would have said was like, guys, another 2 rounds, I KO that man stiff. All this Goat fucking wanted to do was sniff my nuts. He put his face deep in my crotch and was at home there, man. How do my nuts taste, bro? Let's go 2 more rounds right now. You can barely stand up, dude. Look at your face. Go look at, he should have said that. Instead, he complimented a dude he just fought, which, hey, okay. And then he insulted the crowd. It's like, what, dog? You got the whole plot backwards, man. The people of Philadelphia came to see a fight, and you wanted to bury your face in my nuts. Bro, we're in Philly. They want to see us scrap. Dude, the crowd would have went apeshit, bro. They would have went crazy. That's what, dude, instead he did the most fucking pecker dick fucking cat nose fucking stupid ass promo in the hit. I don't even remember what he said. It was just like he started speaking Portuguese and all kinds of bullshit. Represent Island. What are you doing, dog? That guy's so fucking cooked. Let me read the chat real quick. The only problem is Islam fights once a year. Dude, I'd rather see Islam fight once a year than Ian Garry fight 3 times, bro. Straight up. Yes, Maras is extremely strong and he has a wrestling background and he's extremely big. Ian naturally weighs 95, same as Islam. Team Jesus took an L tonight. Who's Team Jesus? Not Ian Garry. He can't the way he operates his household, he can't be Christian. Ian got smacked with cheesy foot to the face. Bro, what about that, man? What about that? Islam put him on LGBTQIA plus street. He put him on Alphabet Street, bro. Where he belongs. He put him where he belongs. Let's go. Hamza Mir says, Islam finally became a star in this country. Dude, it took him fighting against somebody who was so horrible at communicating and with such bad takes that people were like, yeah, you know what, man, we're gonna chant fuck Ian Garry and cheer for Islam. Well, bro, are you saying that Ian is claiming to be a Christian, bro? There's no way, dog. There's no way he claims that. There's no way. And this is the coldest part about it all, right? Your guys' favorite prisoner, your guys' favorite influencer, your guys' favorite thought leader, someone who's retweeted me and follows me on X, right? Your guys' homie and mine, Andrew Tate, says the reason why he reverted to Islam, to being a Muslim, is because they adhere to the rules of their book. Whereas a lot of Christians claim to be Christian, they're doing everything else except living biblically, right? So if Ian is claiming to be a Christian and he's doing everything else, like they lay out a hierarchy of how you should run your house in the Christian Bible. And Ian is not doing that at all. I don't think he's Christian. Yeah, I don't think you're there. That actually baffled me the most. The crowd started yelling, fuck Ian, after he got kicked in the face. Never seen anything like it, dude. Yeah, how good was that? How good was that? This guy's out here promoting a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? And he gets kicked in the face and the crowd's like, fuck you, bro. We got Oze, Islam versus Morales. Yeah, man, that's what it's looking like. Hamza Mir says that Morales will win. So we got some controversy in the chat. Andrew Tate isn't religious at all. He's a convicted criminal. Is he convicted, though? You know, I mean, people have different viewpoints on the dude, but to my understanding, he's innocent until proven guilty. That's how America rocks it. So, is he even being accused of an actual crime with like an actual victim? I don't know. I heard that there's no actual crime. They're just saying that when he gets to the UK, they're going to charge him with the crime. I don't know the details. I genuinely don't know. If you know more than me, feel free to share it in the chat. I'm busy, so I don't have time to get, not that, whatever. I haven't gotten around to it. I haven't looked at the details of that, so I don't know what's going on. I hope they do Islam versus Morales next. Yeah, that seems to be the opinion, right? John Dong, everybody's looking for that fight. Ian came with a game plan to just cruise through the first two, win the last three, like a wrap, but still nearly got finished at the end of round 5. Dude, he almost got finished twice in that fight. He got put on the alphabet street, and he almost got subbed near the end. And he was getting ground and pounded at the end, too, near the end. Even though Islam was on his back, he was still landing damaging shots. Do you know Turkish? I don't understand, brother. Nekadar. That's what I know in Turkish. When I went to Antalya, Turkey, we made some friends. I beat a Greek gentleman in the FILA Amateur World Championships. I won a FILA Amateur World title as an amateur MMA fighter. And I fought a Greek guy, and I didn't understand that there was beef between Greece and Turkey. And so when I broke the Greek guy's arm, and then I was talking to the Turkish shop owners and their family, they were like thrilled with me. They want to like lift me, you know what I mean? They invited me to dinner. They brought food. They were thrilled, right? So I didn't know that there was a beef between Greece and Turkey, but I learned the word nekadar. How much? So if you're going to Turkey and you want to negotiate, you say nekadar, right? I've seen a lot of people saying Proates and Morales should fight each other, but I'm not interested in that. Yeah, let one of them go for the belt, probably Morales, see how he does with Islam. So Ian Garry had an interesting defense, right? And when Islam would switch off from the crackdown to a double, Islam was having a lot of success. Ian would turn and give up his back, right? But when Islam stayed on the crackdown and didn't double off, that's when Ian was able to turn the corner, right? And almost like butt drag out. That's a little bit probably too technical for what we're going to talk about tonight, but that's what I was seeing as I was watching it. So I was watching with my girlfriend. I was telling her that Islam's got to get his arm across the body, or Ian's going to turn the corner, and then Ian did that. And then when Islam did get his arm across and doubled off, that's when Islam was having success. So I believe if they were to fight again, Islam would just crack down, double off much more quickly, and we would probably have just a repeat of that over and over in the fight. Also, if Morales can't stop that, then he's going to have a problem. Also, what's Morales' submission defense like? Because it's one thing to be able to wrestle. It's one thing to be able to strike. It's another thing, like, in the event that you do go down, now, are you going to be able to not get submitted while trying to fight up? Oftentimes, if you are a good wrestler, your opportunity to get up is giving up your back. Like, jiu-jitsu tells you don't give up your back. That's actually wrong for standing up in a lot of cases. So it's correct for a jiu-jitsu point system, but in an MMA fight, oftentimes you want to give up your back, right? And be aware of the choke. That I could rant on that all night, right? Because there's all these things that are taught within their own rule set, especially like boxing. Boxing might be the worst of all this, where they have these things that you're supposed to do in boxing that will get you fucked up in an MMA fight. And then they say MMA fighters don't have hands. Oh, well, boxers really got hands. It's like, dog, go try that. Everything that you've built your entire boxing system on is based on a false premise, a flawed foundation. Boxing is operating in a vacuum. It's easy to sit down on your punches and stand bladed when there's not takedowns and kicks coming at you, right? So the same thing that happens to boxers happens to jiu-jitsu people, which is like never give up your back. Well, then you end up getting pinned, right? So a wrestler will give up their back, but if he's not super fucking elite at stopping Islam from choking, or if he's turning in to try and wrestle up and he gets put in those headlock positions and darces, dude, he's in big danger. Hamza, you disagree with what, bro? What are we disagreeing with? You're a disagreeable guy, so I'm not surprised. What Well, let me read this chat. Chat's popping off. Okay. Yeah, I live in Antalya. Antalya is beautiful. I didn't realize how salty the Mediterranean Sea was. That was wild. That was wild. I loved it on Antalya. Islam versus Paratas and Ian versus Morales next, in my opinion. Morales doesn't deserve to be the 170 weighing 230. Oh, shit. Okay. Dude, I was having a discussion with one of my teammates, and I believe he's like a blue belt or something. And he's going to go do the UFC, BJJ, Open Invitation. What the thing where you can sign up and go compete or something like that, right? Or maybe he's got a blue belt super fight. I don't know the details. I just know he's competing in 2 different competitions, gi and no gi, apparently under the same banner, and he has to make weight twice. And I believe, listen, if people want to cut weight, let them cut weight. So I get what you're saying, that he's not actually he's not walking around at 170 pounds. But if he's willing to suffer and make that cut, well, then that's what he's willing to do to get the belt. And we're trying to find out who's the best and who's willing to do the most to get the belt. And if that's what he's willing to do, then shout out to that guy. Carlos is definitely due for the next shot, says Josh Silva MMA. But I think Islam finishes him. Yeah, man, I would say that Carlos Paredes would have problems with Islam. John Dong says, also crazy that Silva's win streak record was broken after almost 14 years. Dude, man, is Islam going to run it up to 20? That's the question. Ian also didn't use his jab at all. Interesting. Josh Silva MMA. Ian had the best chance and got completely outclassed. Yeah, man. So I thought that Ian won 2 rounds, even though Islam was dominating the takedowns. And I think it was the 3rd round I maybe scored for one of the rounds. Islam got several takedowns, but Ian was like hitting him and like uppercutting him like against the cage and on his back and like just, landing shots. So as the rules currently state in their newest iteration, damage is the number one thing. I also believe that just from a personal level, like what's a takedown in a fight to the death? If you take me down, I grab your cauliflower ear and I'm elbowing you 12-6 in the temple, like who's winning that exchange? I don't care, my ass is on the mat, right? If some dude's face is in my cup and I'm elbowing him in his fucking temple, bro, I feel I'm winning that exchange. He can try and hug my legs all he wants. Personally, that's how I feel. So, I scored one of those rounds, one of those heavy takedown rounds for Ian Garry, actually. But yeah, I feel that Islam came through in the clutch in the 5th, did what he had to do, got on his back, and just was like, hey, man, here's how to win a world championship, bro. And that showed championship composure. Hamza, Morales will stop the takedown in the early, plus taking him down, will tire his body. Islam clearly isn't Islam at 55. I think he should quit welterweight. Go back down, or he should just gracefully exit stage left. Tyler says, what's up, coach? What's up, champ? How you doing, man? I see you winning all kinds of melt. Bro, this dude, Tyler, how old are you, bro? What, 15 or something? He's got all the hardware, man. He's got a whole collection of jewelry that money can't buy. He's got the necklaces with the gold on them, and he's got the belts and everything. You know what I mean? He's stacking hardware. Let me read this. MMA fighters have hands. Okay, yeah, I agree. MMA fighters have hands. I think Islam runs through the whole division. Well, we saw that, bro, Hamza, we saw that they have hands because Bobby Green put hands on Bang, right? The 19-1 pro boxer. I got a whole fucking thought process on that, right? That the whole boxing industry is delusional. I think Islam runs through the whole division. Bro, yeah. He disagrees. Okay, I see. Okay, Hamza, I see what you're disagreeing with. You're disagreeing with Josh Silva. He looked human against Ian. Plus, you can see that he struggled a bit. I disagree with Josh Silva, not you. Yeah, bro. I agree with Ja, though. I think he's going to do well against these guys. I don't think Paredes has too much in the way of like maybe not getting subbed. I think he might get. I'm thinking he might get Paredes out of there through 3K on Ribovic's a week ahead because I knew he was going to murder Edson. Edson is too washed to fight a young dog. Dude, did you see his shin too? Bro, that was gnarly. Looked like he was out with a skateboarding injury or something. You know what I mean? Blood running down his shin and shit. And Morales should be next. Parates lost again, and Morales beat Brady, who was top 4 at that time. Wait, Morales should be next. Okay, Parates lost again, and Morales beat Brady, who was top 4. Okay, yeah, well, yeah. So that's a good case. I'm just not sure how Arias is going to get it done, bro. I know that he's a big guy, but like, you know, I haven't watched enough of his fights, honestly. He looked the fight that I did see, he looked impressive. I just think he outclassed him because you as the striker got dropped by the grappler with a head kick and wrestle fuck. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, who dropped who? Right? Like who dropped who? So then people will say Ian's the better striker, and it's like, by what metric, bro? Because he's not as good at grappling. Now he's the better striker. Dude, Islam's the better striker from what we saw and the better grappler. That's what we saw. Tyler says 14. Hey, let's go. Islam is not above Anderson. Anderson fought 18 times in 7 years. Islam fought 17 times in 11. Plus, Anderson went up 3 times at 205 and took fights on short notice and fought top competition from day one. Well, you're making a strong case there because Anderson... Anderson's a legend, bro. You know what I mean? Also, on the topic of the Dagestani domination, a lot of people have issues with Khabib's record because his father was the promoter for his like first 12 or 13 fights, right? So when you see his record being 29-0, my understanding is that by the American unified rules and the sanctioning bodies in, let's say, America, that those 13 fights, the first 13 fights that Khabib had, those would have been considered amateur bouts in America, just based on the rules that they competed under. But in the Russian area, and his father's the promoter, they were listed as professional fights. I'm guessing his dad was the matchmaker, 13-0. Not to say that Khabib wouldn't have beat a bunch of dudes anyways, but the legitimacy of his 29-0 is in question when you look at the actual rule set in which he competed at and the organization in which he competed, right? So, you know, apples to oranges, as they say, because, you know, Anderson came in from Pride, you know what I mean? And so they weren't like starting him slow at the bottom of the card, right? He was fighting top dudes. Josh Silva MMA, I would have thrown the towel in for Edson. Dude, Edson was struggling there, man. I was hoping Edson would just like fucking throw a spinning wheel kick to the head and just like, whoa, shit. And then maybe retire. That would have been dope. Anderson beat 8 champions. Anderson was already a legend before joining the UFC. Don't let UFC PR machine brainwash you. Also, at 55, Ilya's there. Justin, way better fighter. There's Armin, way better fighters for his career. Okay, yeah. So you, if I'm hearing you correctly, bro, I can barely read today. My eyes are like super watery, so everything is Jaeger 69-28, bro. So you're saying you'd like to see Islam pop back down to 55 and fight Ilya, Justin, and Armin. Those would be interesting. He fought Armin before. You know what I mean? He fought Armin before, but those fights, did he fight Justin or no? I don't remember. But yeah, I'd like to see him fight those guys. Carlos just absolutely destroyed JDM. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, styles make fights too, you know? Frank Shamrock and John Jones are still best UFC fighters of all time. Frank Shamrock is an interesting choice to say that. That's really an interesting pick. I can see the John Jones argument though. You know, people will say John Jones has an asterisk due to steroid abuse. I think Ian Garry and Shavkat are the only people that have a chance against Islam. One of them just got beaten, and the other one is with half knee. Yeah, fuck, dude. Yeah, I think despite the fact that I think Islam can sub him, I think the Morales fight would be interesting because that guy's got power, you know. And apparently, I think Hamza was saying he's got wrestling. I thought he was a judo black belt, but I could be wrong. Ian cooked Shavkat's knee. He isn't even the rankings anymore, dude. And then I don't know if you saw the reel going around, but John Jones fucked up. I think it was Thiago Silva's both his knees. Like John won the fight, and Thiago had to get like double knee replacement or some fucking crazy shit like that. Like, dude, that's so sketchy. I really thought Ian did great considering Islam played the same grab and hold boring fight plan. AZKA Bakar, right? So, dude, what'd you think about the head kick that Islam landed and dropped Ian Garry with? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Khabib is way better than Islam. Should be a debate on the dominant fighters. While Islam is close to losing every fight. Yeah, dude. So that people make the argument the other way. They say Islam is better than Khabib because Islam has better striking than Khabib. Now, let's talk about the reality of the situation. Khabib's striking doesn't look like what people think it should look like. Yet, Khabib dropped Conor McGregor. So his striking is effective. So people will say Islam striking's better, but it's like, what's the metric by which we're judging that? Islam is killing UFC by hugging 5 rounds like a gay. Yeah, so I was with some people, right? I was watching the fight with my girlfriend and somebody else, and it was another girl, and it was like a friend of a, anyway, long story. Not like that. But the other woman that was around was, thought they were both gay. She's like, why do they keep hugging and like putting their foreheads on each other? Are these dudes like both gay? And I was like, dang, that's a cold ass take. I was like, wow. Because she doesn't watch fighting. You know what I mean? It was just on, and we had like another business to discuss or whatever. And then like, oh, yeah, so that was kind of wild. But it was cool because my girlfriend was super into the fight. So I was excited because she was like cheering and everything, which she's from China. So she usually likes to watch Wei Li fight. And other than that, she's not super like as involved in fighting as I am, obviously, but it was cool to watch some fights. Look at Frank Shamrock, 7 title defenses, and he was fighting way bigger guys like Tito, Jeremy. Frank was fighting guys who were 205 during him. Right, but like for greatest, you know, there has to be some weight to like the development of the sport too. Like John Jones competed in a very modern version of martial arts. Now, Jeremy Horn's pretty fucking legit in terms of having a very advanced style for his time period. Islam is getting better with striking for sure, but Ian made him look easier than 55 Islam. Josh Silva, MMA, says, I think Ilya is the hardest matchup in the world for Islam, just based on how much we saw him struggle with a shorter guy who can wrestle like Volk. Yeah, that's an interesting take. Because he did say, even in the post-fight, when they asked him, was this your toughest fight against Ian? He goes, oh, fight in Australia was tough too. That was a very tough opponent, meaning Volkanovski. So yeah, man, maybe styles make fights. Maybe Ilya's got his number. Morales beats Islam. He's too big. Is his name Moraes or Morales? I think it's Morales, right? Moraes? I can see some people writing it as Moraes. I've never really looked at it. I just, I see what you guys are writing in the chat. Morales beats Islam's too big for gay Islam to hug. That's funny. That's funny. Crazy stood there, but his oblique kick, Crazy Ian stood there, but his oblique kick is nasty AF. Yeah, man. I bet you Islam's feeling that. Even though it only landed like 3 times or something in the fight, dude, you don't want to get kicked with that at all. Anderson was one of the best welterweights, too. He beat Sakurai and Shuto, who was the best welterweight in the world at the time. Carlos Newton, Pride. Okay, yeah, Carlos Newton. Shout out to Carlos Newton. That's a blast from the past, old school name. Khabib only dropped Conor because Conor was looking for the shot. That's the only reason it landed. Right, but like so and so only got hit with that Mike Tyson only KO'd that guy because that guy slipped into his right hand. He thought a jab was coming. And it's like, he only got knocked out because he bit on the feint. It's like, yeah, but he bit on the feint and he got knocked out, bro. So if it happened in boxing off like a jab feint and a right hand, you'd be like, oh, Tyson's sick with it, bro. Mike Tyson KO'd that guy, right? And then like here, you know, he level change feints, fucking overhands him, drops him, and it's like, oh, that only happened because he literally feinted a technique, set up the technique he wanted to land, landed the technique he wanted to, and got pretty much the result that he was looking for, which was to hurt Conor. So to me, that's more explanation. That's more proof that Khabib's striking's on point. Frank Shamrock was a 10-0 UFC with 7 title defenses against Tito, 30 pounds lighter, like guys like Tito and Jeremy had great careers. Yeah, listen, man, you're making a case. You are making a case, my guy. Allah Aska Carey. Hey, man, I'm sorry if I'm butchering you guys' names, bro. I can barely see right now. These lights are super bright in my eyes, and my eyes are like watery. What do you think Islam would do more than he did to be considered the GOAT? I don't know. He just, man, a lot of the GOAT stuff is situational. It's like if you come around at a time that there's someone else who's good and charismatic and that can like really challenge you and like, for example, John Jones had DC. And John Jones beat DC twice. And it was like heated and a rivalry. And that got everybody, right? So like Islam, while he might be really good, it's almost like he needs that like counterpoint to him. Like Khabib had Conor. It's like, who does Islam have? Him, Ian Garry complimenting him? You know what I mean? Right? So it's almost like Islam is the protagonist and he needs an antagonist in the storyline to get that like that GOAT aura in a way. You know what I mean? And that has nothing to actually do with like the actual fighting technique. It's like that's for whatever reason, almost all the greats have had some antagonist that's gone up against them, like a villain almost, or like they were the villain and they fought and then they became the hero, right? There's almost some like hero's journey story arc to it, you know? So I think Islam, if he could get some beef with somebody that's considered like an up and coming dude, and then Islam, and it's like a heated, like, fuck, everything's on the line. They've been talking so much shit. Everybody believes this other dude is going to upset Islam. Then Islam does it. Then that would be epic. And I think that would put him in the GOAT talk. I mean, he's already in the GOAT talk, you know, but as you can see from the chat, a lot of people can make counter arguments against him, right? Islam Grandmaster of Hug Jitsu, bro. Alexandre, what is that? 5'6'3", 4'4". Yeah, man, he was holding on, bro. He was holding on. Boricua 602. Let's go, Islam, GOAT. Boricua says Islam is the GOAT. Morales. Okay, so that's how I say it. Morales. John Dong. I wish we could see Islam versus Prime Usman. Dude, I think Usman's a problem for him right now. I think Usman 40-60 could get it done. You know what I mean? 40% chance, 35% chance. That's not nothing. That's 1 in 3, 1 in 4. I mean, 1 in 3. You know, anyway, like 40% of the time he might win the fight. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Ian dwarfed Islam and still couldn't beat Islam. Islam is the GOAT. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, dude. Ian, when they went actually face to face, Ian looked pretty big in there. Islam still can't finish anyone at welterweight. Dude, I would have liked to see him get the finish. Ian is legit welterweight and still couldn't beat lightweight Islam. Khabib took Connor's soul. Wow. Yeah, dude. I mean, if we're being honest, Connor kind of started spiraling after that. So I don't know what came first, chicken or egg, but somebody can make the case that Khabib got Connor like a fish. Fuck, dude, I want Connor to come back and beat Max. Fuck, I'm so like, why are you bringing up bullshit? Now I'm getting all sad and shit. Islam is GOAT. You're saying Khabib's striking is good. Khabib only landed a few times in his fights. Let's be real. Dog, he dropped Conor McGregor, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like there's reality right in front of all of our faces. He dropped Conor McGregor. And then, well, he didn't turn his punch over. And it's like he didn't go on the mitts. And he didn't have Floyd Mayweather's mitt man hitting his forearms with mitts. Right? It's like, dog, come on, bro. He dropped Conor McGregor, bro. Conor McGregor snapped Floyd Mayweather's head back like a Pez dispenser. That's the greatest boxer of all time, undefeated. And Conor popped his head back like that. And Conor didn't do that to Khabib, right? So I'm a results-based guy. So I look at what actually happened instead of what I feel like might have happened. It seems to me like a lot of people want it to be this person's got better striking because it's more in the box of what we believe striking to be. And it's the reality is there's all kinds of techniques outside of that are effective. I go by effectiveness, and that's why we can disagree because you might have a different criteria, right? And I'm curious as to what the criteria is. Khabib dropped his ass. How do you score the striking in that one? Khabib dropped him. Been watching MMA since 93 and best times and most competitive is now. Yeah, the strength of schedule is getting fucking really, really tough for everybody. And Anderson's second fight was for the title against Rich Franklin. Islam's 17th fight compared with Anderson's fight. Yeah. You're making sense, Hamza. You're making sense. Nah, you're wrong, bro. All he did was shoot legs over and over. Dude, he dropped Conor. Who won that striking exchange? Also, hot take alert. Khabib has outstruck opponents 193-4. And you're like, what? When? Dog, when he was ground and pounding them. Those are strikes too. The thought process of striking is still put in a box where you have to be on your feet. He outstrikes people. He can take them down and punch them. And it's well, that's not on the feet. That's different. It's well, what happens when you're in boxing and you put a guy in the corner? You put his back against a surface where he can't back out. It's the same thing with the ground. You're putting his back against a surface where he can't back out and you're hitting him. You're limiting his ability to flee from your strikes in both scenarios, and then you're striking him. So if we want to get really broad on what striking means, Khabib outstruck everybody. Oh, shit. Right? You know what I mean? Islam is awesome, man. Surprised Ian couldn't knock him out with the size advantage he had. Islam is the most well-rounded MMA fighter I have seen. Islam couldn't do anything. Was way bigger than Islam. Interesting. That's very interesting. I'm trying to think who's more well-rounded than Islam. Oh, shit. Fuck, dude. Ilya would have been in the conversation. He would have been in the conversation until Justin Gaethje poked him in the eyes twice. Oh, shit. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. But I do think that some of those knuckles got into his eyes. That's how his orbitals broke. Conor could, Justin threw those punches, But rewatching a lot of those exchanges, I feel like Ilya still beats a lot of fucking people, man. That's crazy. Now I got to think about that. Who's the most well-rounded MMA fighter out right now? Islam did out-grapple pretty much everybody he's fought. And then he did knock out Volkanovski with a head kick. And he did drop Ian Garry with a head kick. So, yeah, man, you might be right. Boricua 602. Conor could not hold the belt. No defense. What happened to him after gone to boxing for big money? He lost all his UFC fights. Those are all valid. Those are all valid. He did not hold the belt in terms of title defenses. Islam is in the GOAT talks for people who just started watching MMA in 2020. Bro, tell me how you really feel. Nobody gave these Dagestanis a hug. They cling on so clearly. Dude. Better live in Islam. Here, GOAT, the most streak in history. Now everybody excuses. Joe Rogan said, what if Morales... yeah, dude. So we got a couple different options, right? We got Morales. We got Perates. What if Justin Gaethje goes up to 70? You know what I'm saying? So, and this is why I wanted Conor to beat Max. Because then we'd be seeing Conor versus Islam right now. Oh, man. Dude, Conor, bro, get it together. I heard Conor, I hope it's not true. I hope it's just a meme. I heard Conor was drinking again. I hope he's not. Oh, shit. Anyone who thinks Islam lost, please watch another sport. You clearly don't know what you're watching. Okay, so did you give Islam all the rounds? All 5 rounds? I'm just curious. Because I believe Islam won the fight, but I thought Islam lost rounds. Josh Silva, MMA. Conor stole our money fight with a blown out knee. Oh, bro. Highly likely that he had some form of knee injury going into that fight. Results-based logic is hard to dispute. I know, right? It's like, what are the results? And especially because we fight, right? We have to like, instead of filtering by what the collective believes, we have to also then be able to test that or like double filter that against what we observe. And then we're trying to get as close to what's true as possible, right? So I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but I don't believe that doing more Jiu-Jitsu is the answer. It's like if Jiu-Jitsu is, as a community, as a sport, as a rule set, is moving towards what's the most true, the more true Jiu-Jitsu gets to reality, the better, more effective Jiu-Jitsu will be. So Jiu-Jitsu is almost like it's almost like a latency between me and the truth, right? Like trying to adhere to Jiu-Jitsu is like one additional step between me and truth, if that makes any sense. So what's actually effective? It seems to be that giving up one's back is actually more effective in terms of standing up and getting the fuck up off bottom. Jiu-Jitsu says don't do that because in the Jiu-Jitsu rule set, then you lose points if you get hooks, right? But in MMA, if they put their hooks in, you put your back to the cage and you can kind of almost like shake them off anyway. Or if they go over under, which is what they're taught to do in jiu-jitsu and you tripod, oftentimes they fall off, right? What they actually should do is go double unders when you tripod. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in wrestling, like you can't go full Nelson. You can only go half Nelson, right? So like that's a flaw in the rule set because if you go full Nelson in an MMA fight, that's an effective form of control against most people. You know, like, so there's all these like gaps in every system's rule set that have developed to make the sport have an objective other than what's the actual truth. And oftentimes that's what's entertaining or what can be scored. And if you look at the areas that were developed to score or to be entertaining, oftentimes in a more free rule set like MMA, you can exploit those like crazy. End of the rant. I mean, I could go on about that all fucking day, man. I go on about that all fucking day. So when I talk about Khabib, who's the better striker, it's like, what's the case that Conor was the better striker? When they fought each other, Khabib dropped him. And if you want to get really broad, he beat him up on the ground and landed a lot of strikes on the ground, which are still strikes. I know, controversial. Khabib's striker was getting better, even Dustin and Justin fight. Dude, he walked Justin Gaethje down. GSP, Nate Marquardt. Oh, GSP was quite well-rounded. I'll say GSP's the most well-rounded fighter of all time. More well-rounded than Islam. Dude, well, I don't know about Gegard Mousasi or Frank Shamrock or Marquardt being more well-rounded than Islam, but I would say GSP could have a strong case for that. Dude, GSP versus Islam in RFA might be fucking interesting. I say GSP gets his ass. To me, the GOAT is the fighter who is way more skilled than his competition, and that case would be John Jones. But for the drugs and steroids, I believe DC deserves it. Right. And then so some people say DC was on juice too, even though there's no proof of that, you know. And so this is the crazy part, is that like how much of John Jones' abilities are attributed to his abilities and how much are attributed to juice, you know, and we'll never know. We'll never know. That's why the discussion continues. Our pundit Don says, I still blame Drake. Dude, I blame Drake, bro. Bro, when he put the bet on Conor, he cooked us all, guys. He cooked us all. Catch wrestling is king. Bro, you are absolutely cooked for that take. That is not accurate at all. There is no proof of that. That has never been the case. There's literally been, I mean, Josh Barnett is a catch wrestler. Aside from him, like, that's like saying judo is king because Ronda won. Like, dude, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Josh Silva, there's no historical precedent for that, bro. Like, there's not like a lineage of like, oh, dude, there's been 48 UFC champions who were catch wrestlers. There just hasn't. Bro, dude, you know, you make the chat fun, bro, because you got such wild takes, dog. You got wild takes. Half the time I agree with you. Half the time I'm like, dude, is this guy absolutely cooked? And then the other time I'm like, oh, well, he's making sense now. So people don't talk about how good GSP really was. Dude, he's so good. Everyone John Jones fought was on juice. That's the other point. How many of those dudes were on juice? I mean, not that they were in the same weight class, but Adesanya was clearly on something causing him to have hormonal disruptions that caused his body to grow in weird ways. It's like, so what are we, like, they're all on steroids. Quote Nick Diaz, right? Or was it Nate that said it? They're all on steroids. They're all on steroids. Dude, yeah. And I mean, I'll be real, like, a large percentage of everyone I've trained with in MMA at a pro level is probably on steroids. Frank, very well-rounded. Frank outstruck. D-Man 685, King David MMA. What's that say? He said, Tadasanya, Josh Silva, Rampage, Machida, Vitor Belfort. Well, to be fair, Machida was drinking his own urine. So, you know, if you're willing to do that, you might be willing to inject something. Khabib and Islam are catch wrestlers. Dude, they're absolutely not catch wrestlers, bro. They represent Sambo. You can't just name different shit, because you want it to be... Chael was definitely on juice. Chael was on so much juice that he says if you're not on steroids, you're disrespecting the sport, you're disrespecting the career, you're not a professional. That's Chael's take. Machida was high off urine. Yo, guys, hey, so what do we think about Mackenzie Dern fighting, what was her name, Jillian? What do we think about that? And more importantly, what's Wei Lee going to do to her if Wei Lee decides to come back? And more importantly than that, the fight I want to see is my teammate at Extreme Couture, Tatiana Suarez. I want to see her fight Mackenzie Dern. I'm picking Tatiana. How about that? Tatiana's going to win. How about that? I think Wei Lee beats her too. So I think Wei Lee beats her. I think Tatiana beats her. Oh, man. They're probably not going to match her up with either one of them, though. Well, what are they going to do when Wei Lee comes back? They got to match her up, right? Sambo took majority of grappling from judo and catch. They're Sambo guys. Catch wrestling is more like Josh Barnett. Yeah, Josh Barnett's OG, triple OG. But yeah, Dagestan is Sambo and all that. And they wrestle a lot over there. They like do like international style wrestling a lot. Nama Yunus is the 115 GOAT. So Islam never finished nobody in welterweight, dude. I know, but man, what he did do, he did show championship grit by getting the takedown, taking the back, and winning the fifth. Because Ian was like turning the corner. He was getting a little momentum. Dude, Ian should have got on the mic and just been like, dude, 2 more rounds, you're KO'd, bro. You were holding on for dear life. That's what Ian should have said. Instead, Ian took the opportunity to make himself less likable and not even in an entertaining way. Because I've said some stuff at the end of fights on the mic, got myself booed, beer thrown at me, everything, but like in a charismatic way. You know what I mean? Like in a fun way. This dude's just like bad. But anyway, Islam is the best 55 and 70 pounder. Dude, his worst damage. Bro, yeah, so I mean, Islam did head kick him too. You know what I mean? We can't just fucking make up. We can't rewrite history. Islam outstruck him in that round, put him on his alphabet street, his pronouns. He was having trouble remembering his pronouns on that street. We used to have a name for it, but if you say the name, then you're not allowed to say the name. And then I think the proper way to say it now is LGBTQIA plus street, plus minus street. What, I don't know what it is now. I don't keep up. But anyways, yeah, he head kicked him, man. So shout out to Islam Makhachev retaining the belt. Shout out to Mackenzie Dern. She retained the belt. I'm looking forward to Tatiana Suarez stuffing Mackenzie Dern into the mat, taking her back and choking her out. I'm also looking forward to Wei Li versus Mackenzie Dern. I'd like to see that fight. My girlfriend is from China, so she's a big Wei Li supporter, and that would be interesting to see that fight as well. Dude, they were even bringing it up in the fight that, like, man, if Mackenzie was fighting Wei Li right here, Wei Li would be trying to bash her face into the mat. I'm like, yeah, she would. So, he got a broke nose. Who got a broke nose? Islam got a broken nose. That's crazy. But yeah, man, so Islam has put himself in the GOAT talk for sure. The fact that we're even debating it in the chat says a lot. He did beat Anderson Silva's record. Some people are saying he used catch wrestling. He clearly used Sambo and international style wrestling. And, I'm excited to see him fight Morales potentially next. I think that's a more interesting fight for me, at least. Paratis is a big fan favorite, so maybe they'll do that fight instead. And we'll see if Islam Makhachev can break the 20-fight win streak number that he has set out to beat. We will see that, man. Anyways, guys, appreciate you hopping on the chat. Make sure you got notifications turned on. Bang that bell. Set them to all notifications because I go live at random times. And I will see you in the next video. If you've subscribed, I appreciate you. Thank you. I love you guys.